Hello, this is Pixel Freak, and today I'm taking a look at Aralon Sword and Shadow. So this game just came out yesterday to the Google Play Store and is now available to all Android devices. And I say it that way because previously, for the last 7 months, it's actually had some sort of exclusivity deal with the Amazon App Store. Now I'm not sure if that actually meant that you could install it on any Android device from there, or if it was a Kindle Fire deal there. But it has been there now for about 7 months. It's also been on iOS now for about 2 years. I think it came out in December of 2010. So this, by just about every measure of the yardstick, is an older game. Let's go ahead and jump into the gameplay and see how this one stacks up against the rest. So the game opens up to a less than inspiring title screen, which shouldn't be that big of a deal. There are a few options. The controls are changeable a little bit, and there's some graphics changes you can make depending on the scalability of your device. If it's a lower end device, you can set the graphics lower. If it's a higher end device, you can make them a little bit prettier. Because this is a 2-year-old game, the prettier side of things isn't really that much prettier. You can kind of expect visuals of somewhere around the PlayStation 1, maybe early PlayStation 2 era. So once you're done messing with the settings and setting up your options, you are brought to the new game screen. Now here you have the option between 3 different difficulty settings: easy, normal, and hard, and each one varies with how strong your enemies are and how much it takes to level up to each new level for your character. Set that up, and then you get your new character selection screen. Now you get 3 different races here. Humans and elves have access to 5 different classes and 2 different sexes, and the trolls have access to just being male, which is interesting because I wonder how they would reproduce. Anyways, they also get 3 different classes. They can be the warrior, the paladin, or the rogue. They unfortunately cannot be the ranger or the mage like the humans and elves. I'm not sure why that is, but that is just part of the game. Once you've set up your character and you have entered the game, you're presented with this kind of generic story about how your father was some kind of a warrior that was mixed up in a save the kingdom, you get a letter down the road. It's very cliche, the story is, but nonetheless, you are charged with uncovering some sort of conspiracy about why the world is going to end or the kingdom is going to befall darkness, and you set off on this chain of quests. So Aralon is an open world action RPG questing game. And a lot of times people have, from what I read, compared this to like the Elder Scrolls games. I'm gonna dissent from that. I don't think this is like the Elder Scrolls games. I think this is much closer to a single player MMO. This feels a lot like EverQuest, the original one, or maybe even EverQuest 2, or World of Warcraft. These games where you're kind of a third person, you run around and you engage the enemy, you have kind of an auto attack, and then you cast spells, and it feels just like that. And then you pick up quests as you go. There's the main story as you go through. You can continue down that main quest line, but if you don't do the side quests as you progress through the game, you're going to be quickly outmatched in those main quest line because it progresses in difficulty very quickly. So you're going to have to do some either side grinding or some side questing. So, as you complete quests and as you kill enemies, you will raise levels, and as is typical for an RPG, you get points with those levels, and then you put those points into your various statistics, but you also get a skill tree. And for games with skill trees on Android, usually they're not that inspiring. This one is pretty awesome. For my mage, I got a numerous amount of fire and ice spells, and I also got a fire pet that he progressed as I go, and certain levels allow you to unlock certain things and you're able to level up your different skills. It's actually a rather robust system. The equipment in the game is actually earned throughout the field. Various enemies will drop equipment, and some of it your character can equip and some of it you can't, just based on your class. You can also buy it within the stores inside the game by earning the cash out from killing enemies and completing quests and then spending it in the store. I should also mention there is an in-app store in this game. Now that in-app store is actually kind of quarantined away in the menu. Now you can buy a paid currency within that store and spend it only at that store. That currency doesn't work throughout the rest of the game. It's only used in that store, and the items that are offered there are really just boosting items. You can basically pay to excel in this game or pay to win, but you don't need to. The game is intended for you to complete it the way the developers made it. This is only for people that want to pay to cheat rather than play the game as intended. So for those people that are worried about an in-app system, don't be. This is totally fringe. It's totally off to the side. For those purists, go ahead, play the game as it wasn't intended, and just stay away from the in-app purchases. So when I say this game is an open world game, I'm not just meaning it's open but small, like a basketball or a football field. No, this is actually a very large map. So I've played this game over the course of the last 24 hours for probably about 5 hours. And in that time, sure, I did a lot of the main quests and a lot of the side quests, but I took some time to just go wander around and go exploring. And I have to say, this game feels like it encompasses that on a mobile game, which is freaking amazing. It's kind of like mind-blowing to me that I'm actually able to get this sense of adventure on a game on a smart device. The game didn't impress me on every angle though, and even though the game is a 3D open world RPG game, the graphics, because they're 2 years old at this point, do show their age. There are other 3D options out on the Google Play Store now that look much better than this game and still have relatively robust worlds. That being said, I don't think that the graphics are a distraction. I just think that they're a little bit under par for today's standards. The other primary criticism that I had was that the user interface is a little bit bland and could use a lot of touch-up. For instance, the thumb stick on the left-hand side, it looks like a low-res little picture and there's really not much dynamic to it. It felt like it could really use a lot of sprucing up. Also, on a tablet, a lot of the buttons are really, really small and actually were difficult to hit in certain situations. That was a little bit distracting and actually was a little bit of a drawback for me in playing the game. Not so much that I wouldn't recommend playing it, but enough to say, yeah, that's annoying and it could use fixing. So my final verdict on Aralon is, this is a winner. Sure, the graphics are a little bit outdated and there are some kind of interface problems here and there, but the gameplay is solid. The open world is amazing and vast. The skill tree is very deep and actually makes you want to level up to get more skills. The equipment suite, the different changes in your class and race really make a difference. This is a winner. For $5, this is a definite buy. I'd say this game's probably more worth like $10 and basically you're getting half off. That's the value that I think the game brings. So if you like action RPGs, this one I think is for you. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, this has been Pixel Freak.